Hey, welcome to Married with Gaming. I'm Mike, and I'm going to share with you how I set up my old school essentials campaign for my home game. One, old school essentials book, rule book. This is basically codified BX, uh, and to a greater extent, BECME rules, written in a fashion that is very digestible, if I can say that word. Um, and so, this is basic what we're working from. I am going to eventually add a little bit of the advanced version in. And for NPCs, I have some of those races class. But first, we're starting out. Everybody's, well, the one player I have for now is just going with this. So, what you can do and what they provide is one, there's a simple worksheet. And we're going to go through it, kind of decide and what we're going to use and not use. And these are like optional rules and things that you can do for your game. Well, for simplicity, there's ascending armor class. So, for ease of play, we're going to do that. And see, it's a little check mark thing. And I guess you can do this, hand it to your players. Say, this is what we're doing. Re-rolling hit points, ones and twos. For the most part, I go with the start at max hit points. There's been times I just say max at every level because, well, it still doesn't help you survive any better if you make bad decisions. But reroll hit points, ones and twos when getting current character creation. No, I'm going with max, so this doesn't apply. All right, advancement. High level play. Human characters may advance beyond 14 to a maximum of 36. So this leans right into the BECME thing of going, basic, expert, companion, mastered, immortal. Well, not immortal because it's 36, but 36. So that was the BECME and cap. I don't think I'm going to do that because, no. I don't even know how you do that old school essentials. There's not enough info. Plus, if you delve into it, the companion and master set rules kind of can backwardsly feed into the basic expert play and round that out. So mid teens is pretty much the highest play that I've messed with, even in AD&D and D&D back in the day. So I'm gonna no equipment. Reload crossbows require a round to reload between shots, and they can be fired every second round. I think I'm just gonna go with the book says. So probably the reload. Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I remember. Adventuring encumbrance. Yes. The basic encumbrance, detail encumbrance. Oh boy. So movement rate is determined by the type of armor, and then or based on weight. We're gonna go with weight because just like regular gear in the modern time, if you just wearing the gear, just like armor, I've watched videos where people in full armor can climb a rope and go over obstacles just like a modern day military guy. So it's kind of weird that you would be slowed down. But if you wear additional weight, yes. Variable wind conditions. Waterborne movement rates, say that easy, are adjusted by I don't know. I don't do a lot of stuff with boats. Individual initiative. Now I've discussed this and thought about it, and individual initiatives are made. I think that's good, but I don't think about modifying it by dex. So we can do individual initiatives, but we're not going to make dex the champion stat like it is in more modern D&D. Variable weapon damage, yes. So, not going to do d6 for everything. Invulnerabilities. Monsters can only be harmed by magic or silver weapons. Can also be harmed by other invulnerable monsters. We'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Subduing. Intelligent foes can be subdued in combat by making non-lethal bludgeoning blows. Subdual damage is noted separately. At 0 hit points, a creature surrenders. I think that would be more of a thing of like morale and other checks, maybe a charisma check. I'm not going to do it by that rule, so no. Morale, 2d6 rolls versus the monster's morale. Well, I think that's part of the game, so yeah. Morale check. Yeah, of course, morale. Attack rolls using Thakos instead of using the attack matrix. Well, we're using pluses to hit with the, so that isn't necessary. Optional, race and class separate. We'll probably eventually do that. Right now, no. Weapon proficiency. Well, of course, attacks with non-proficient weapons are penalized, so yes, that makes sense. Restricted. Yeah, so that's just default. Now, weapons specialization. Martial characters can specialize in a single weapon, gaining +1 to attack and damage rolls. Kind of like that, so. And also restricted. On this, secondary skills. Characters have a secondary profession or background skill in addition to their character class. I don't know if that's a necessary detail, but if we do thing where you roll your background for your character, that might be okay. I'll just keep that as a consideration. Arcane, spellcasters, and staves. Or staves. Can wield staff in combat. Sure, that sounds like a smart thing. Character races. Lifting, demo, human, class, and level restrictions. No. Because that would kind of, human characters get some bonuses. And we're not, no. You get enough bonuses. Magic. Limits on turning undead. Each character may attempt only once per encounter. That makes sense. Turned undead are affected for 1 turn. Well, yeah, that's a turn in this old school, which shows, yeah. Advanced spellbook rules. Spellbooks are unlimited. Spell acquisition is governed by intellect or intelligence. Yes, that makes sense, because only having as many spells in your spellbook as you can actually cast kind of is very limiting. I get it for a simple version of the game, but I want it to expand, and well, right now we don't have a magic user player, so it doesn't affect anything yet. Now we go into adventuring. Limits on returning from death. Resurrection. I don't know, because I've rarely had a character resurrected. And I kind of lean into the AD&D thing of demi-humans cannot come, well, elves don't have souls, so they can be reincarnated. Attacking with 2 weapons. Now, this is an interesting rule. Characters with high dex and strength as their prime requisite can wield 2 weapons. I think we might want to try that one out. They want to do well. Charging into melee? Sure. Missile attacks on targets in melee. Randomly turn a target before the attack roll. I don't know, maybe. Kind of depends. If something's large, like a giant, it's going to be different. So maybe. Parrying. Characters with a strength 13 plus may forfeit their attack to add their strength bonus to their AC. Don't think that sounds like a bad. And splash weapons. Misses, land 5 feet away randomly. Yeah. So that's the worksheet they give you. I'm also going to do training cost. So we've determined that, and it generally takes a week plus, sometimes more downtime. Maybe modified if you have a mentor, teacher, other mitigating factors. So in addition to the core books, some of the other books I'm going to use for it. One is this, Into the Weird and Wild. It does have its own little system, but basically very BX-ish friendly, but it has a lot of interesting things and procedures for being in the mythic forests of the world. And a lot of dangers and things to think about. Not just food, water, and the necessities, but what else is out there? Lots of cool stuff to think about when you're creeping through the forest. The next thing I'm going to use a lot of this. I backed this on Kickstarter a long time ago, and everything about this is awesome. It basically takes your monster manual, breaks it up, and says, hey, look here, here's a lot of charts you can roll on. First, it's like NPCs. So you got people, like I said, adventurers you can meet. But the interesting parts are like the monsters. So, and encounters, and it just goes beyond what a random table will give you. This section, like this, a wizard did it. So this is your crazy, situations. A wizard did it encounters. They give you maps. If you want to insert that. An eye tyrant. I wonder what that could be. Maybe some kind of, I don't know. It'd probably be crazy to behold that kind of creature. But it gives things to do, like stuff you can loot from them, eating them. If you eat the monster, it could be a very delicious and dungeon kind of thing. Different types of encounters for it. It gives you much more than just your standard the monster manual. It kind of gives food for thought, different ways to think about these encounters, and also to cook and eat them, or to harvest them for magical stuff, or how they can enhance. Like you use a spider's legs for spider climb, but if you have a giant spider, it might be a more potent version. But the be-all end-all of my reference thing is, of course, this copy of the Dungeon Master's Guide. And this is the print-on-demand one from Drive-Thru. It's held up pretty good. The good of it getting print-on-demand for a little over $20 was that you can go through, and I don't feel bad about if I have to, for highlighting this book or writing it, which I would not do to a real book. So, and I still have a hard time doing that to this book. I haven't highlighted anything yet, but I thought about it to find things a little easier. So this is the go-to for anything. And all the years I played D&D, the AD&D DMG has been the, the codex of referrals. For a map and adventuring, since we're kind of leaning into the hexcrawl, I got this out. This is the outdoor survival game. It's even referred to in the old white box. And we're going to be, and have been, using the map in it. So we're using this map as kind of a starting area in the north, and our starting dwarven city is going to be located on this hex here. I'd probably like to get something where I could like cover these up and change things on it. But basically, it's been exploring from here, and we've done a thing where we've only gone a few hexes over and a few hexes out. So only right in this area has been explored. But we wanted to lean into kind of the old school. You have a safe home base, and from there, you're going to go out into the world and explore and make your fortune and conquer or die. Okay, so that kind of encapsulates kind of what my initial thoughts were. Kind of go back to the origin of the hobby, where they used outdoor survival, where they used hex crawling and exploring, random encounters, rolling what you find. That combined with everything we've learned along the way, and just make it a exploration and discovery storyline. Now I know my player has posted a thing with a very detailed background for the characters, and that came about later. It was like make the characters first, and well,
your player is somebody who likes to make backgrounds for her characters,
and it's good to develop some kind of how should I say it, buy-in, attachment, but this can be deadly. Okay, so far been very lucky, and characters have lived with their background, but it doesn't guarantee anything. And although I might lean into a negative hit point, save the character thing, or so many rounds before they die system. So far, even without that, you've been very lucky, or she has, and lived. But as I think she can attest, I seem to be less forgiving on her playing than I have other people.
That's very true.
And that might be she stuck with me. So I mean, so anyways, I'm not afraid to kill characters. Hopefully, she's not afraid to lose them. That would be tragic because I think she built up a whole story that she's put on here, and I can only wish them the best. This might be expanded later for more players to join, or I might try a different campaign, but this is just the way we're going to feel it out. And thank you for listening to me.